Okay, everyone, and hello, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Spiked Launch podcast. Here with me today is Steven, aka the True Asian. Hello, Steven. How have you been?
Yo, what's up?
And a very special, powerful guest today. Resident Season 1, Rank 1 champion, and they can never take that away from you. Water, hello, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Hello, welcome. That was a pretty flattering introduction.
It's the truth, is what it is. It's you snap necks, broke legs. Thank you for joining us. So I think what everybody would have on their mind is we'll just get right into it. What propelled you to the number 1 status? What did you do to become NA champion? Or I guess world champion, technically. There were some other areas. But definitely the champion of all in NA.
I mean, Nerg. No, like I kind of figured out. No, like in the first week, like everyone was complaining about Nerg, so I was like, why don't we just play the deck everyone's complaining about? Because like I want to play the best deck, and then after like messing with it and like thinking about the cards, I was just like, oh wait, everyone has like kind of suboptimal lists. So when you play Nerg versus Nerg, you're really happy about it.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, for a while, everybody was just like rote copying the X Shadow deck. And I was laughing in the beginning because like, I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but there was like a poison pill in there. Like he had Anjanath in his original list, which is like just like a de facto worst card, than some other things. And just like things like that. It's like, you could always copy someone's deck and it might be very good. In fact, it may be the best deck in the world at that point in time. But all it can take is 1 or 2 small changes to make it even better than the other ones floating around there, right?
right.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm pretty sure when I was talking to him, he just didn't own the other cards.
You just didn't have them.
Yeah, like, because it was day 1.
It was early. Well, it was early. It was close to day 1. I mean, but you would think between like 20 packs and like, I think it's common cards that would replace it, like Bishamon or whatever, anything like that. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to judge him. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but it's just funny. It's just funny because you just see.
No, the funny thing is that everyone used that 2-5 for forever.
For a long time. Like, why? What are you doing?
Like, no, I saw champs play it.
You saw champion level? Wow. I think I saw it sometimes too. I mean, because like, again, in the beginning, Spike Launch was so powerful, you'll probably at least get close to
I'm
A
talking
rank.
about when I was going for 1, like me and Water were racing for 1, because me and him were first and second for most of the season.
Yeah.
But like we were racing, I kept seeing that card. I'm like, why? Why are we playing season 1 meta?
Yeah. Well,
Or like week 1 meta? I don't know.
fair enough. Well, out with the old, in with the new. I guess let's get right into the next topic. So what is the meta now? It's changed a little bit, right? We spoke a little bit last week, of course. It was all combo Rathaloses all over the place, and we hated the meta. What have we seen, especially with a global introduction of the game? Lots of Japanese players and others coming into the scene.
We're seeing a lot more Ryu and a resurgence of Nerg. I guess we were spoiled, so we were like, oh, Nerg is dead. But then I'm assuming the Japanese players and the other international players who just looked at, wow, 20 AP deal 12 damage across your opponent's board is still insane.
It's still very good. I mean, at the least, like on average, you're still doing 4 damage per unit, which if it won't outright kill something, it'll still probably really hurt something,
Yeah. But like, I think it's because we were so spoiled by like old Spike Launch. We were just like, everyone wrote it off.
We were.
Oh, it's dead.
We were. Yeah, absolutely. And how did you feel, Water? Did you ever hop off the Nerg train, or have you stayed with him for quite a while?
Well, on like the first day of like the release, I was telling Steven, I was like, Nerg is still good. And he's like, no. And then like a few weeks later, he goes like, Nerg is good again. And I'm like, wait, didn't I say it on day 1?
Where you been, bro? What have you been doing, man? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I've been playing Wesker, and I just love life, because Wesker is the deck for the people that just want to play Teppen. And it's not that Nergigante isn't. Nergigante is still very much you're playing Teppen, but for a while there in the meta, it was just gross. Like, let's just throw swollen units at each other and not be able to do anything about it.
The issue is Wesker versus these like combo decks is, do I draw my answer? Like, that's like literally your whole gameplay. It's like, did I draw my answer? No? Okay, I lose.
Yeah, if it's not against like green red, but if you go up against something like a purple, woo, you better have obliterate. And if you have obliterate, you better hope they don't have a counter to that.
The rats have gotten better. It's not fun.
What have they added? Learned. What have they done? How have the wraths evolved?
So they're going more wide now, and then going +1 attack to all. And the thing is, you can kill one Carlos if they just stack one Carlos, but if they drop like two Carlos, they drop ramp and like have like a feline and a Carlos, you can't kill both of them. And like they always hero art last second. You can't just like remove it. And if you remove one, then they'll buff the other. And like a 7/6 flying feline is still gonna kill you.
It's still pretty scary.
Right. Actually, I think like the most scary thing is if you're Wesker and then just like flight an Iris or something, and then you can't kill it, and you're just like your most of your removal is not like, unless you're playing Obliter, right, on the Iris, which then you can't deal with the Carlos later. So you most of your removal is just minion based. So the flight would make it so you can't interact with it, and then the Iris sticks around and you lose just like based on the flying Iris.
Well, I sure am glad I climbed when I did.
Yeah.
So
just don't play the rest of the month. No one's gonna catch up. It's so hard to climb this bed. The top end is gonna be higher, but I think the bottom end is gonna be about the same.
Wow. So you were saying there were some things that you thought changed in the player base, and you said specifically you thought that a lot of the Japanese players have changed things. And as of this recording, the current #1 player is Japanese, correct? He's over 2,000 points, I think. He was last time I checked.
He's almost past Water's like height last season already by like the 15th.
So he knows something. He's looking at the game with either fresh eyes or he's been analyzing ahead of time.
He knows something that we don't. Put it that way.
Was there be a bounty out there for somebody who plays against him, and we could review the VOD and reverse engineer his deck? Like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, what is this guy doing? We want to know.
The Japanese players definitely adapted very quickly, because when the first few days, like you played them and you had really suboptimal lists, and then now they're playing like the real lists with like, and they're making the correct plays, and it's like just makes it way hard to climb. Like now at this point.
Yeah, it's been rough, to say the least.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll say this just in terms of the meta. Of course, Play TEPPEN has been increasingly revealing card art for the new expansion released in September. Did they say September 2nd? It's early in the month, I think.
I didn't hear about the release.
Oh, I don't take September 2nd, but early in September, I believe we're going to be getting a new expansion, which fortunately will almost definitely switch up the meta. You know, some colors will win, some colors will lose, but it'll be kind of a chance for everybody to kind of circle the wagons again and try to discover something and climb up the decks again.
Yeah, that's probably the like coolest thing is like the meta shit. The meta, every time the meta shifts like that, there's like new room for like deck builders to like get ahead, which I like. Like it encourages creativity.
Yeah. And so I mean, Water, of course, you know, is a former rank 1 player. You know, where would you say TEPPEN lands in your mix? Is it more about having the best deck? Is it best about having the best actual play and performance? Is it necessary to have both? Where would you say it leans one end to the other?
I think like the creativity, like the ability to make a deck already leans towards like the macro play. As in, if you know how to make your deck good, you're probably good enough at knowing like what the cards do and how to utilize them properly. Whereas if you just took someone's deck, you don't know why they put that card in, and then you might not play the card like to its fullest potential. So I definitely think that the ability to make decks is like really big in TEPPEN.
Yeah, so if you can make a deck, then you almost definitely know how to play it. You might be able to play very well, but if you can't make a deck, then you might get left behind in the meta. So if you have to rely on other people's decks, you'll most likely always be a step or two behind. Because I mean, honestly, guys, like I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, but that is an interesting approach. Like, oh, all these Weskers or other, control Ryus are out here. They're destroying my buffed combo unit. I know what I'll do. I'll buff all my units.
Yeah.
It's kind of clever. And I think we even saw red, purple, and people started to use hook shot and stuff like that as well, right? We started seeing Carlos's and stuff getting zipped up into the air. Was that going on for a little while?
No. Everyone's just using attack from above.
Oh, that was it. Attack from above. Right. Which is a red card.
We were saying, oh, they were playing hook shot, as in, because attack from above is basically
discount hook shot. Because they get what? +1 attack, which does stack with the Rathlos ability. Oh, it's +2 attack.
It's +2. So
That's
it's like
not bad.
really important. It's really important for trading too. So if you play your minion second and do
An
it,
interesting interaction with it is if you play disarm on it, it still gets rid of the attack, even though it's like it seals off the ability of after, like you would think they would seal it off of the ability of after it hits one time it would take the debuff away or whatever. But it actually still it still debuffs it after it hits once.
That's unfortunate. It must be coded in there specifically, like this is a temporary attack buff.
Yeah. Either way, the card's still insane.
Yeah. No, still good. I mean, of course, any additional way to get more flying units in the air to hit the face first. So why don't you guys go into that a little bit more? Go into the specifics of micro play versus macro play. Like how can people that are trying to get better at TEPPEN, think about that and apply that to their own play style?
So let's introduce micro play for a second. So micro play is like when you play Ryu versus any removal hero art, basically. The goal is to specifically play everything last second so they can't get a full value hero art on you. So like dropping it last second so they can't react is a big thing. Like one thing that's kind of some kind of micro play in a macro deck is when Wrath players play their hero art last second and then you can't react to it.
Right.
I'm sure we've all experienced
Wrath from
that.
above, and it's like you would need like 10 milliseconds to drag the icon over to do it, and it's just not possible.
And another thing that Water, you can go on is like playing everything in a line. If you want to go a little bit more into that.
So one thing that you can do if you're playing a deck like Wesker or Ryu is you want to play everything like as fast as you can in a sense, so it's hard for your opponent to react to it. And like first of all, you usually wait out till you get 10 mana, but then you want to like play the least punishable minions. If your opponent's not initiating, you want to initiate. You can play all your minions out, and if you also have art, then you can you can hover your art over their side of the board, and if they're about to block the first guy, you let go of your art, and then now they have to deal with well, hopefully you are arted on time, and now they have to deal with all 3 lanes being attacked at once, as well as the fact that they have the animation, so they have to drag even faster.
Right. So the art, in that's the same sense that we're saying before, like the other person was using their hero art to make it so that the flying unit would definitely hit the unit. You're using your hero art to destroy their defending unit so they can't drag something back into that same lane again.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just also pushing damage in those matchups are also like so critical too, because it goes to time a lot.
Yeah. It's easy to forget, like, every point of damage really can matter. I mean, 30 hit points seems like a lot, but especially in Wesker decks more than any, will sometimes end in a timeout. And if that's the case, it will matter. A couple points of damage will really dramatically change things.
Yeah, that's a pretty like significant thing that people miss out on. It's just like, when your games are gonna naturally end at like around 25 to 28, you want to be at 25 and not 28. I mean 28 and not 25.
Yeah, it's a big difference because like it may be like a low value dark destruction, like you may be using it on something that you would normally never like need removed from that exact spot, but the trade-off is, hey, it's a free 3 or 4 or 5 or sometimes even more damage on your side. So
yeah, it's really significant specifically for for Ryu, because Ryu versus Wesker, the Ryu player really needs to kill the Wesker.
Right. As soon as possible, because otherwise they're going to start pulling out their wrathful predations, and they're going to be able to heal back up all of the burn damage that Ryu worked so hard to do.
And more importantly, it's the fact that Ryu just can't kill those zombies.
It's difficult. It's very wasteful.
If you drop 3/6s at the same time, Ryu's like dies.
Yeah.
Right? Like once you get to that phase of the game, like Ryu just can't do anything.
Yeah. Wesker late game is why I love Wesker. It's like you just hang on and usually what I find is, played well, you use your vials, you use your tyrants wisely, you use your 3/2 zombies well. You can actually kind of hang in there. A little, not perfectly, but he'll hang in there. And then all of a sudden, like the guys start those revenge units, they start coming home. You got yourself a 4/9, you got yourself a 3/6, you got yourself a 5/2. It's beautiful. I'm really excited for the new expansion to see what sort of new revenge units we get.
I would be surprised if we get more revenge units right now.
Oh, I think we'll get a couple. We have to get at least one or two. It's like a zombie-based expansion, right? Isn't it? It's like Jill. True, it's like Raccoon City.
True. But like, if you give like that one more good revenge unit, like we're at the breaking point, right? We're just using Arkham is like kind of like the weak one, but like once you break that breaking point, that deck's gonna be really powerful.
Yeah, Arkham is such a gross card when you play him as just his normal 2/3. I look at it, I'm like, what are you like? Like he could finish something off and sometimes trade again, but otherwise he's just there to deal the 2 damage and like, all right, hopefully he'll come back and it'll be cool again. And like a 4/5 is okay. It's not great, but like the 4 damage is pretty good.
Really punishable in Wesker versus Wesker, which is why you don't want to deploy Arkham if you're like trying to initiate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you don't want to send. You don't want to send Arkham out on his own. Yeah, he sucks. Yeah.
Like because they're gonna play Bile on it, and then you are just suddenly behind like so much.
Right. You've done nothing.
You use your Arkham to like react to their Cerberus.
Yeah, ideally.
Or else you're not really getting all that value.
Yeah, or to help clean something up if something's waddling towards you with 1 or 2 life left. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in that, did we go over, so we went over microplay, we went over macroplay. Do you guys want to add anything else to that?
I think one play, like as the game goes on, microplay will get more and more important, and players that are really good with microplay usually are the ones who are gonna start topping, especially in this meta.
Oh yeah,
where like
this meta, it's like everything's hanging on like one major unit or 2 major moments in the game.
Yeah, when like macroplay did not microplay did not matter versus when you play Nerg v Nerg, black green Nerg, because like inherently 5 decks that are capped at 5 mana need to play cards or you're wasting mana, right?
Right. You need to keep churning it out, right?
Yeah, you don't have enough time to wait till like 8 mana and then like time like these perfect value hits. You kind of just need to go. And that's a cool thing when it comes to, let's talk a little bit about deck building. When you're deck building a multicolored deck, you have to like realize that your deck has to initiate. You can't just be a reactive deck with 5 mana, which is one thing that like people were like really exploring. But now you like, when you look at your like multicolored decks, even like the Shadow Blade deck that's like I created earlier this week, is like, it's just like, it's like a Wesker but aggressive. Like you have to play everything aggressively with 2 color decks, which is like a cool thing to think about with the game.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to add on that.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, it almost feels like a different game when you're playing a single color, because you are able to reserve up all that mana. And like the really cool thing about it is like, even if you're just waiting for them to do something, by the time they've played something in about 10 seconds, you guys probably know the exact number. You get like 3 energy in 10 seconds, more than 3 energy?
9 seconds. 3 seconds of mana.
Yeah, 3 seconds per mana. So it's like 3.3.
Yeah, it's so attack phase is 10 seconds and a mana is 3 seconds. So you get 3, not about like 3.1 mana per attack, 3.3 mana per attack phase.
Right. So by the time their first unit, so say they play their unit instantly at the start of the game, you could have saved up 7 mana and played a unit that has 7 mana worth of power built into it. Presumably any 7-cost mana is going to completely thrash anything, anything that comes its way. That's really cool thinking about it, right? So my single cost thing, like a built-in advantage there is you get an extreme ability to play value. So you guys, Water, you didn't mention, what were some of the other digital card games you played before TEPPEN? I would find it highly unlikely that you started your first card game experience with TEPPEN.
Well, I played a bit of Hearthstone.
Just a bit? Just like dabbled?
I also played Artifact when I was out. But
sorry, I'm not laughing at anything. I'm just laughing in general. I'm just laughing.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun, but the player base kind of died out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So in your experience, right? So I know in Hearthstone specifically, there was always a very specific tilt towards trying to build like a smooth mana ramp, because in that game, of course, each round you would get progressively more and more energy you could spend per round. I don't think the exact same concept applies to TEPPEN though, right? Like, of course you want to have some 3 and 4 cost minions that you would play in reaction at the last minute to stop something, right? But how do you think it, like a mono cost deck or monocolor deck, how do they build themselves? Like, can they, if they really wanted, play a lot of 6 and 7 cost minions? I mean, I guess we already see that in purple, right?
I think
but purple's different.
Purple doesn't count. We don't talk about purple.
Yeah. Yeah, purple, you can't just say purple plays high cost minions, because they don't just play high cost minions. They play cards that just instantly win the game.
Fair enough. But given the state of the game and the way it works, in that we are always constantly regenerating energy at a fairly constant rate, barring MP boost minions, there's no reason why somebody in the future couldn't start trying to build really high cost minion decks. Now, I'm not saying that's the way to go, but I think maybe you could explore those ideas. I don't think they've been explored heavily. I know I personally prefer to have mostly 3, 4, and 5, and then if it's over 5, it has to be a legendary or something critical to my deck to want to invest in it.
So the thing is that, like, just the existence of hero arts and just knowing like which hero arts are popular in the game right now, high cost minions are just inefficient, because like you can play a 4 cost unit and then force out a hero art, or you have to invest in your like super big like Chun-Li and then watch it get Hadokened.
Yes.
Right?
Poor Chun-Li.
So well, like, just for example, it was Chun-Li, but like that's kind of inherently why I think like that concept exists. Is just because these like hero arts exist that just instantly kill big minions. Like Spike Launch last meta was a huge deterrent of ever playing.
Oh yeah. No, you would never. Yeah, especially
Like,
something like X, who costs 6 and only has 5 life. Oof.
Yeah, like you just watch your minions, like your mana investments just like die. So like that's kind of why like those decks don't really like operate well. If there's ever a meta where like Charge Shot was good and like it was the most used hero power, then you'll use big cards, because big cards kill their like minions and their mana ramp.
And they can live longer to get more charge out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is that high cost minions are just hard to cycle through. So you need like the high cost minion to do a lot of things like Ryu or Rathalos. But even then, if you had a bunch of Ryus and Rathalos in your deck, it's not gonna be very helpful to your game plan, because you want like the specific answer at the specific time. And so if you have small like minions that cycle through, like the minions that answer the other minions like better if you are able to like fluidly go through your minions and like whatever. So you're basically more likely to find your answers, which is exactly what you want in this type of game.
Yeah, I've actually seen you guys discuss more and more often, like, oh, this thing clogged my deck, or oh, this thing clogged my deck. Where essentially you have a hand, and you've got either duplicates or a bunch of things that are just too situational, and you wouldn't really find an opportunity to play them, which is different than, of course, a hand that is literally unplayable, like, 5 attack boost cards when you've got no minions on the field, right?
Yeah, that's a great feeling.
I stopped playing red in Champion, I think, after the second time I got a hand like that. You know what? I don't want this. I don't want to risk this. And that's the major issue. I'm not sure if there's still people out there watching this or listening to this that enjoy and like running those combo red decks, because they're so heavily reliant on attack boost cards that you're probably going to be running at least 5. And in all likelihood, I mean, what would you guys say? How many attack boost cards?
They've optimized it a lot since then.
Well, you get the 3 cost guy that gives you the 1 attack
the
buff.
other big card that's like just floating around right now is I think it's called Sense of Duty. The 2 mana give 1 attack to all. So even if you draw it, you can play it.
You still play it, and you're a little bit safer.
Yeah. So like the chances of you hard breaking like drop significantly just from that 1 inclusion.
So you'd have 3 of those. You'd have 3 of like the boost guys, and then I guess you could theoretically run 3 or even 4 of the other single boost cards, right?
Yeah. You use 3 of them. You use we use personally attack from above, but that's not like that widespread right now. Like not everyone has decided attack from above is good because it's really matchup dependent.
Right.
Because like flight isn't actually universally good across all matchups, which is kind of weird to talk about because flight is insane.
I mean, normally it's amazing, but if you're going against, again, like purple, and purple's just playing, I'm going to win. Although then again, flight could be good against purple because it might help you block the Ibuki that's going for your face in the air.
The thing about it's just so expensive. So in the mirror, like you'd rather just have a normal +2 attack and kill them.
Right. And it's a 4 cost card, I think, attack from above.
It's a 3 cost card.
3 cost card? It's expensive, but I mean, it could be worse, I guess. I guess the fact that the attack boost goes away is probably the worst part about it.
Yeah, the fact that attack boost goes away means it's only a 1 attack. And then, like, a lot of matchups, you're kind of fighting for board, and that's not what you want to do when you're fighting for board, right?
Right. Well, it's like you've said before, there are some cards or there's some actions that you use to help you win the game. Like, I think the first podcast you were saying that's kind of like what crows were good for back when people used to run crows a lot. They're not going to help you dominate the game, but they're going to help you get the extra damage you need towards the end or at any other point to be able to close the game just a bit earlier.
Close. And like closing's really important. That's why like back to the macro thing. It's like getting those like perfect hits and everything are more important than ever.
Yeah, I still think crows are neat. I don't run them. Maybe I should put one in my deck just to kind of put my money where my mouth is. The thing is like if you play a flying unit in an empty lane, unless they also have a flying unit, then that attack that they're going to do is basically guaranteed to hit. I mean, outside of like them playing something with agility or hard removing the creature, right? There's nothing else they can do. Just by the very basis of the game, being the 10-second attack cycle.
Yeah, it's all interesting. Like, it's really hard to say like what's like for sure like the best way to play the game when the game's so young. Like, I mean, it's already been out a month, but like for a game cycle,
it feels like it's been out for like a decade, but you're right. It came out the 4th of July. Like that is like a month and 12 days ago.
Yeah, like the game's still young. So like it's really hard to say, oh, that's like universally right. Or like we might look back and be like, wow, we were so bad, Actually, I'll make that statement. We're gonna look in a month and be like, we were so bad.
Yeah.
Like even now, like
why were you only
rank
rank 1? Trash. Come on, man.
Yeah, so we were rank 0.
Yeah, get rank 0. What are you doing? Well, there's something. You're right. There are already people out there that are learning more. I mean, not like we have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. Don't ask us. We don't know everything. But there's already people out there that clearly are exploring mechanics or micro or macro abilities that are exceeding the majority of last season's top players.
Yeah, like Gengar is like we consider like the king of micro play. Like his like we didn't even realize like micro play was that important in this game until Gengar like basically was like beating us with Ryu, which we thought was like impossible to lose because his micro play was like that good. Like you just couldn't get value off of him,
Right.
and
right.
like it's just like that. It's just like
And the
those
timing's
things,
so
like,
tight. I mean, milliseconds.
yeah, he got it every time in like a 5-minute game. Like all like 50 times he had to do it, he did it.
I was watching his stream the other night, and it was kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this guy is really fast.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that, like it's not even fast. It's just and it's precise. Like even if you're hovering, you're not gonna get it. Like, cause he's gonna get it on that frame. Like, he's gonna get it frame perfect every time. Like, and players like that, will be like have an advantage because like that's not something like that comes really easily. It comes from like years and years of playing different games, right? To have that good timing.
Oh, hell
right?
yeah. So, is this my time to shine, guys? So, I play
Yeah.
Monster Hunter. We'll just talk about console speedruns. I hold 12 any% real-time attack speedruns, right? So, start of the game to the credits. And Monster Hunter, to get really good at it and get really good times like that, you have to be able to know this concept called an iframe. Most people probably know of it from like Dark Souls. Like Dark Souls has iframes. Basically, you roll, you have a certain number of frames out of 30 or out of 60 where you're invincible, and it could be like 5 or 6. So you're talking like, I don't know, 100 milliseconds maybe, 200 milliseconds, and that's the timing that you need to use to be able to get through certain attacks. And like for a player that plays the game enough time, like it ends up being second nature, but you do build certain habits, certain abilities to react at a certain time. And Gengar clearly either has a talent for it, or he just like has played a ton of games like that where there are iframes. It's the same thing with fighters, right? And I think this is clearly a game that's based around the fighting game, sort of genre. We want to make a card game like a fighter, short, condensed rounds, where timing really matters. So,
yeah, no, I think that's really cool, and like it's a new aspect. But like I come from traditional card games where that's like kind of like my thing. So like I'm really not that good at like micro play. My micro play is like really subpar. I think I might have maybe like of the top players, I might have the worst like macro
why are you
play.
being
Like,
so hard on yourself? You make it sound like you're like a geriatric old man with arthritis. Let me move my Shinku Hadouken over here. It'll get there eventually.
I can't win mirrors at all. It's like bad.
Yeah.
Honestly, like for the hero art stuff, for trying to like time it at the last second, like I don't even time it. I just like go for it. Like you just release your finger at like the second you predict that they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And you hope that they didn't time it properly, because if they timed it properly too, then they're winning a trade. But if they didn't time it properly, then a lot of times you just get there. And I don't know, there's also a bit of latency too. Like I noticed that like
latency can be really bad sometimes, and it changes per match. So, and it depends if you're hosting or not.
Yeah.
So I noticed that when you do that, a lot of times, if I think it's like if it's a little more laggy, the hero art's more likely to go off before the trade hits. But if it's like less laggy, then they'll get it off perfectly.
No, I've seen some streamers, and it's like every single time a unit's attacking them, it's just like 2 seconds of just like the bar pushing up against them. Like, are they gonna attack?
There's sometimes in Wesker matchups like mirrors where you'll have to like dark destruction and you don't know what you're dark destructioning. You're just like forcing the attack in. You don't know if you just killed a 4-9 or a 2-3 until like after. Like you've been there, right, Water? Like
yeah, of course. I mean, like that. You also like try to vary your units that are blocking too, just so that like they dark it's a kind of mind game sort of thing where you hope that they dark destruction the wrong one because you're varying your guys.
Yeah, because you're doing it last second, so they have that like because it's really hard to get that frame. It's really risky to go for that frame where like they cannot react, but you want to hit the frame where they can't see what they're reacting to.
So either they drop the dark destruction on,
whatever
a 2-3 Arkham.
The thing is,
even when they do that, they still push the face damage though.
Yeah, they still get the face damage. It's true. Yeah.
I think the thing is with like you're ordering the guys at the last second, it's like the timing is literally the same as though you're dropping your unit. As in you're just gonna pretend it's as though you're dropping your unit. You hover your mouse over, well, your finger over, and then you just like let go as the arrow like hits the thing, as though you're dropping the unit. So you're also blind to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny, like watching because eventually world championship stuff like that will happen, and watching players like play that fast in like a control mirror.
It will be interesting. It will be very interesting to see who ends up going to those and at what level they're playing at.
Yeah, like because there's like different like skill sets, right? Like all that, like if you play Dante or Morgan, you don't need to worry about the timing.
Oh no, not really at all, right?
Never. You just don't. Like that is more about macro play, which is I'll go a little bit of macro play because we went a lot into micro, but macro play requires stuff like counting mana, right? If I play a spell here, will that bring them to 6 mana so they can play obliterate?
Right.
Stuff like that. It's stuff like what in their deck that they usually run, like this is stuff you can't play around, right? Like if they play like there's like this 3 mana card that destroys your own guy and brings it back in like in black. I don't even know what the card's called. It's like an epic.
It's got like a big purple head on it.
Yeah, that card
or something.
Yeah, like there's stuff like that. You're not gonna play around it just because like you're not. Like it's like you're just not gonna play around stuff like that. But you think about like stuff that you can play around, like obliterate and stuff like that. It's like really important, and a lot of players don't do it. But like that's type of skill set's what's gonna get you ahead with purple, like knowing how to play around stuff.
I know, but I'm not good at counting mana. I'm trying to get better. Like, we had Time Rocker on last week, and I like watching his streams because he's always counting every mana. He's good at it, man. He's really good at it.
Yeah, he's really good at it. But there's like, it's all about stuff like that where counting mana is like how you get ahead with those decks. Yeah. He can do it with Ryu, so he has good micro and macro play, which is actually really cool.
Yeah,
especially Ryu versus Wesker is about counting mana because the obliterate's like your best answer to Rathalos or Ryu.
Right.
Sometimes the issue is the Wesker player kind of has to like play minions because they know the Ryu runs a little bit of burn, so you can't just sit at like 30 and then like kind of wait. Like you need to get some chip in as the Wesker player. So then if you play your minions like way too early,
you also don't want to lose your mana advantage.
Right. So the issue is if you play your minions like kind of randomly, then the Ryu player is going to count your mana, and then they're going to drop Rathalos and kill all your minions. So you really got to make sure you're hovering around 6 mana to have the obliterate up, but at the same time, like play enough so that you have enough pressure to.
Yeah, like, and if they ever the other thing is sometimes they pressure you to the point where you can't even do anything about it. Like they pressure you and you're just like, okay, I can't do anything. I lose.
Water. I think I had that exact same situation happen to me earlier this season. Literally the exact same thing. Like I played too much against a Ryu, and he's like, okay, I'm going to play Fate-Defying Ryu. Good luck.
Right.
Yeah, that felt bad.
Yeah, I think that's like the main way that Ryu beats Wesker is they need Rathalos or Ryu, preferably Ryu because that does more damage.
Oh, he's so good, man. He's such a crazy card for 6 cost. I mean, I know he's a legendary, but like, especially for like past the midway point when the Wesker doesn't have like maybe he just lost some of his good revenge units. So good.
And also, the Ryu just kind of forces you to block their lanes, which is kind of like a huge issue for the Wesker. Because if you're forced to block all their lanes, then you're playing minions that are relatively inefficient for your cost. Like you're playing like 2/4s and stuff for 3. So the Ryu player will know like that's what you did. So the Ryu player will like no, you can't afford to obliterate and just go in.
Right.
Or they're just counting mana like they're supposed to. That too.
Right.
Yeah. The Legiacris is difficult for the Wesker to handle. I think he's one of him and the BB Hood are both very scary. I would argue.
BB Hood is just like the strongest red card in the game.
She's very powerful. Very powerful.
I think like if you just look at like across classes, like I think in a vacuum, Zombie's the strongest black card. And I think and this is all in a vacuum, right? With no synergies. I think Zombie is the strongest black card.
Which one? The 2/3 or the 3/2?
The 3/2.
Right. He's really only 2 cost, and then he comes back later, and he's a 5/2.
He's a 2 mana deal 3, AP charge 1, and a 0 mana deal 5 AP charge 1. If you think about it.
In a way, yeah. Weird, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, like the way he just works and the way he interacts, just like it just does that, and that's like, I think has to be the strongest black card in the game.
I've got 2 of the police versions of that card. I feel pretty cool.
I have 2 as well.
Yeah.
Water, you have 3, right?
I think I have like 5.
Some poor guy, and hopefully he's not listening to this podcast, but I saw him in the TEPPEN Discord, said he had spent $70 trying to whale and get 1 of them. Didn't get any.
Shoot.
Feels bad, man. That feels bad. I don't
Water,
know.
don't talk to him. Don't make him feel bad. I have 3 Chris. I got 4 secret Chris's, which is like apparently the super one that everyone wants. But I got 4 of them. Like I had the DC one. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I don't.
And I can't get my 3rd zombie. I'm actually upset.
I don't know. I don't really mind. The animations usually are broken for me for some reason anyways. I don't know when they're going to fix that. All right, so Water, we're getting close to the end of the show. I would like, if you could, to share with the audience your best advice on how to be a better TEPPEN player.
At this point, probably I don't even know anymore. Most of the decks are kind of counter each other very well. If you like, and a lot of players have just gotten good. So like the kind of an issue is like normal, like before, if you just played Wesker and then you played against the Rathalos, you beat them like every time. But like if the Rathalos like players are getting better, then the Rathalos actually like does well in the matchup. Like we've tested it, and Rathalos actually just beats the Wesker.
Rathalos sounds really scary right now with the full attack board buffs. That's terrifying.
Right, but the problem is with Rathalos is that the deck is kind of really inconsistent. So you're not gonna draw your good cards, or like a lot of times, and sometimes you like get too many actions and you can't do anything about it. So it's like that's not the deck you want to be playing. You want to play like a deck that's kind of consistent. So like kind of like Ryu or Wesker, or like even Purple is like relatively consistent now. But like I tend to shy away from Purple just because I brick really hard. But yeah. So at this point, like most of the more powerful decks are just really inconsistent, which is really scary for trying to get better.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, someone has a 95% win rate with something. So
right. So there's clearly something there that's super consistent.
Yeah.
But...
yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, even if you have a deck that when it has a good engine and it's running is going to win like 60 or 70% of the time, if you're going to brick or get a very bad starting hand, like 20 to 30% of the time, that may get you to champion rank, but it's not going to let you climb.
Yeah, the issue is like the race is like kind of like top 10 predicted. It's going to be like 1975 to 2K. And you need like an 87% win rate for that. And like, there's not many decks right now that can get an 87% win rate, sadly.
I was doing really good, and I was on a really good streak with Wesker. And just like I was in a casino, I was happy with my position. I'm like, you know what? I'm walking away. And actually, I did get a bounty or whatever the other day for play 1 or 2 ranked matches, and I played them and I won, and I got a little higher, but I'm not playing. I'm good. You can't do it to me, gung ho. You can't force me. You can't force me again.
Did you ever get back to like where you peaked at 1 last season?
In terms of like overall points?
Yeah. Do you ever climb back
1906?
to your...
I think I'm like I'm like 1850, 1860 now. I'm happy. I'm fine.
No. But like last season, did you ever get back to that?
Oh, over 1900?
Yeah.
No, I got close, but no. It was weird because like, I mean, look, the 1906 I was crushing people with like that were still learning the game. Like I just happened to get a couple days ahead of everyone and was spike launching them to hell and back. I wasn't like the best in the world. I just happened to get there first, right? Like, the people that got up there and stayed up there through the grind really earned it. I'll be top 100 and I'm okay with that. I don't need to be in the top 10. Save it for you guys. Which, by the way, you better get top 10. One of you or both of you. Both of you. I'll just call you both.
We both been like 1 and like 2 this season. We just got greedy.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
We got greedy. We both wanted one.
2K.
No.
I was at 1960 like 3 times, and I just kept falling, and now I'm like 1600.
Oh.
It's like bad.
Oh, why are you on this podcast?
So bad. Meta sucks.
But I think like the main thing is, even if your deck is super consistent, it doesn't matter almost, because like decks like purple have a game plan that is like gonna force you to.
It's
be
different.
inconsistent.
Yeah, you
Right.
almost have to like ruin or corrupt an otherwise wonderful deck because of the existence
Right.
of purple. Like purple's like what the catfish in, you know, the barrel of other fish to kind of liven things up. If you don't put a counter to purple into your deck or some way to address it, you will probably lose.
I like how Water told me. Even when you're not playing against purple, you're playing against purple because you have to put bad cards in your deck to beat purple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like no, like anytime you draw obliterate in the mirror, you just played against purple. Like
You did, because normally you would never, like, why would you ever want to play a 6-cost removal card when there's so many other highly more efficient removal cards?
There's a 5 mana one that's way better, but you can't play it because they have a negate for 6 mana. Like, I mean, for 5 mana cards. That's like, by itself is just like, I think, so disgusting. It's just like, you have to play an inefficient card, a strictly worse card, just because they have an answer to the strictly better card.
And now they're starting to run that one card that will return anything that's 6 and lower at the -2 cost. Bald-faced lie or something like that.
Do they? Oh no,
I saw that.
Maybe I shouldn't trying that.
I saw that in a free match, and I'm like, man, I'm glad this wasn't ranked. That sucked.
Right. I really don't think it's that great though.
All I know is it
like,
beat me in the mirror match because I was in the free match. I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, oh, that's weird. What does that card
do? If you want to beat Wesker, just play Dante. They need to draw all 3 obliterates. That's so unlikely. Like, I don't know why you would play Baldface Light and Morgan. Because it just makes it's just like playing it's just like the fact that the purples has to play obliterate, right? It's the same like logic. Like you both have to play bad cards for each other now. Because like Baldface Lies is just literally dead in every other matchup, right?
Oh, it's a bad card. It's not really a great card.
It's 6 or less, so it doesn't even stop the opposing mind control.
It's true. You're right. You're still going to get mind controlled. Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought about it. I'm like, oh, you know, I can negate mind control. That sounds really good. And then I realized I couldn't. And then I'm like, okay, this is really bad.
Right. And they can always
like
play it again anyways. Like, that's the thing. Although it is expensive. For them to play mind control and get it sent back would still be a huge blow.
Yeah.
And hopefully get around it.
The fact that like that card cannot block mind control, I think is so dumb. Like the fact that there is no counterplay to mind control in the game right now is, I think, insane.
That's true, right? And it's interesting. I was watching a streamer. It might have been Time Marker last night, trying to play purple without going heavily into the resonate ramp mechanics. It was just like the standard. Well, not standard. I don't know if it's ever been standard.
There was that new Temptation deck from Japan.
It was all holds and then blowing up the
Flying units, right?
I think he was doing some flying units. I think it was doing some. He was using that 1/1 card.
Oh no, that's different. But there was a deck that just came out from the other side of the game that's just literally like flying units, and they just halt you the entire game. So it's not even like, I think that must be like worse than playing against normal Rezo purple, in my opinion. Because like against normal Rezo purple, like when you die, at least it's fast. So it's like a quick, painless death.
This is just slowly watching your health ebb away.
Yeah. Like, I actually think that's like more unpleasant from a personal point of view, but
can't do
to each
anything.
their own.
Yeah, because you can't, you might get one hit in, but then if you haven't killed the flying unit, they're still going to hit you. It's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're going to end it here. Thank you for joining us, Water. You said you nothing in particular you want to, anyone you want to plug, anything you want to plug? Brands, friends, streams?
No.
Dong Ho?
No,
That's okay. You don't have
I got nothing.
Okay. Steven, of course, can be found at, why don't you tell us?
the True Asian HS.
What
On
does the
Twitter.
HS? What does the HS stand for?
Hearthstone, because that's where I started from.
Not Heart Stealer. We've been over this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I can be found at twitch.tv/SDShepherd, youtube.com/social dissonance, Twitter at SD_Shepherd. Good podcast, guys. Good. An honor, really, to have not one, not two, but three former rank 1 champion players in the world.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay! Us! We're cool. And you guys will be back soon. I'm sure by this time next week, you guys will both be, if not at, close to over 1,900 points. Surely at least beating me, who was camping. I'll be your watermark. You have to beat me just camping around like spot 18, not playing the game. And
Oh my god. I think my favorite person who's been camping is J Dragon. He's been like, he hasn't played since like the first week of this month, and he's still like 8th or something. Like
Smart.
Oh no.
Smart guy.
He's like 8th now. Like he dropped to like he was like 20 or something. He just doesn't play. Then everyone on top of him just dropped.
Yeah.
Because we're all like racing for one.
Yeah. You're all gonna fall down, and then we'll be standing there on the pile of your corpses. So on that note, thank you guys. Thank you both.
Right.
We will hopefully be back next week. Monster Hunter Iceborne expansion for Monster Hunter World may be coming out soon. So Steven may be taking over primary hosting duties for maybe 1 or 2 episodes when that comes up. That's not till September 6th, but you never know. Okay, so until next time, thank you all, guys, and see you next time.